be talking about 20 things you should know as a first timer in Japan. Knowing some of these things will help you on your first trip to Japan, and it will save you from endless headaches. It might even save you from being arrested by the police if you break some of these rules. Number 1, Japanese mainly use cash. As advanced as Japan is, it's very surprising to know that they use only cash. Why not credit card? Why not debit card? Most restaurants, they don't want to upgrade their system, so then most of them use cash as payment. I think they're starting to transition to cards, but on a larger scale, most restaurants only accept cash. So make sure you have cash before you go to Japan. Number 2, you can get almost anywhere using public transportation. It's one of the most convenient things about Japan. No need for taxi, no need for airfare unless you want to go somewhere really far south in Japan. Public transportation, that includes the bus, the trains, or especially the Shinkansen. All of them are amazing choices. Japan has one of the best public transportation system ever. It is so high tech, it's the next level. You'll never be late to your destination. For the next few things, it's going to all revolve around public transportation. Number 3, you can use either a Suica card or a Pasmo card. They're a small little pass that you use to scan to get either on the train or on the bus, not necessarily on the Shinkansen though. That's kind of a different transport system. You either buy a one-time ticket for that, or you buy a week-long or 2-week-long ticket. But this video is not focused on that. Number 4, how to replenish your Pasmo or Suica card. So at every single train station that you'll go to, there will be a little machine. And the great thing about it is that these machines, they have a variety of languages, English included, of course. It's very great. You don't have to fumble around or get your phone out to use as a translator. Number 5, it is considered extremely rude to talk loudly on public transportation. So make sure if you're on there with your friends, family, whomever, you talk in a quiet voice or a whisper. Most Japanese, they won't say anything to you if you do talk loud, but they're certainly thinking about it in their head of how rude you are. Be considerate of your surrounding environments. Number 6, it is considered rude to consume any type of food on the public transportation. Make sure if you buy food and you're on the go, you consume it somewhere that's more allowed, like in front of the store, or some places that are a bit more acceptable. Just be wary, don't consume food on a train because they want to keep those areas clean. Number 7, don't eat and walk. This rule is, when I first went into Japan in around 2018, this rule was still pretty prevalent, but not as much anymore nowadays. Some may consider it still to be a bit rude, some don't, because in Japan they're really clean of their street, and so if you spill food from another shop, the shop owner of that area, they have to clean it up. And I think the biggest example would be when we went to Tsukiji Fish Market in Tokyo. So in Tsukiji Fish Market, whenever you buy any food from stalls, you should eat it right in front of the restaurant or stall that you buy it from. Typically, stall owners don't want you to eat other people's food in front of their own because you're taking up space away from their own customers to eat food there. So just be wary of that, be mindful. Number 8, the cities are extremely crowded. So be careful what time you try to use public transportation. If you're trying to go at rush hour, it's going to be packed on the train like sardines. And I think the next rush hour, probably around 4 to 7, lots of people will like to go out from that time, and businessmen are going home during that time. Be wary that most places are going to be crowded in major cities. Talking about Tokyo and Osaka. You're going to the main areas, it's going to be extremely busy. Number 9, long waits in popular restaurants. All right, so here's the thing. Most restaurants in Japan are fairly small due to the expensive real estate. And because they're small, they accept smaller amount of customers. If you're used to restaurants in America, you know that they could seat up to maybe about like 40, 50 people at the very least. But in Japan, it's more so around 20, where it starts getting very filled up. Some restaurants might even accept less than that. And so this creates a pretty long line in Japanese restaurants. Be mindful of that whenever you're making your plans. If you're going to a really popular restaurant, you could be staying there for about 2-3 hours waiting in line like we did. Number 10, Conbinis are the best. So Conbinis are convenience stores in Japan. They're your Family Mart, 7-Eleven, Lawson. I think I may have missed some. But these convenience stores are extremely convenient. You can get all types of food there. You can get onigiri, actual meals, fried chicken, chicken on skewers, all types of food. You can get alcohol there too. They are the best thing ever, especially when you're a little bit too lazy to go out at a restaurant. Lisa and I, we would get convenience almost every single night that we came home from a long day. It was delicious. No wait, no nothing. You go in, get your food, go out, go back to your hotel. It's amazing. And plus, if you're running a little bit late in the morning, go to a Conbini. Fast, easy onigiri. I also create helpful vlogs, tips, tricks on Japan. So make sure you check out these videos if this has helped you out. Number 11, how do you get places? Well, Google Maps and Navitime will be your best friend in trying to get to all of your destinations. So Google Maps, for the most part, it will show you exactly what directions to go and to walk. Whereas Navitime is perfect in giving you a large overview of how to use the trains. That's where I use it the most. Because sometimes whenever you're underground, Google Maps, it will lose connection. So in doing so, you have Navitime to give you directions and when to get off, when to get on train, which number or letter to take in your tunnels. It's amazing. You have those two, it makes it a little bit more difficult to get lost. Number 12, Japanese terms that you should learn to help you on your trip. All right, so there's a few terms that I know a lot of, okay? So number 1, arigato gozaimasu. That one's very simple. Thank you very much. The second term is hai, which means yes. Number 3, ikura desu ka, which means how much is it? Number 30. So most tourist-based restaurants in Japan, they do know English, so very high upside. They'll understand English, they'll typically have an English speaker working there, and even better, they have an English menu so that you can understand what you're ordering. So really great things. But once you go to the more authentic or native serving restaurants, that's where you might have a little bit of trouble. So be sure that you have a Wi-Fi connection or internet connection, SIM card, whatever it is that you choose to have. Number 14, most Japanese people will mind their own business. So they're not going to go up to you and start talking to you. Japanese people in general are more so on the introverted side. If you ever been to somewhere like New York City, you probably get some people go up to you and talk to you. Or America in general, you know, you're waiting in line, people will talk to you. But yeah, in Japan, that's extremely rare. Most people, if they're waiting in line, they don't necessarily interact with other people in line. But if you initiate first, I don't think they mind at all. Which leads me to say that if you're a foreigner and you don't look Japanese or could pass as Japanese, you'll get a lot of stares and attention. It's mainly because they're curious, they don't see foreigners way too often. Japan's actually a very homogeneous nation, so most of their population is Japanese. So seeing if you're like a white person or a black person, they're definitely gonna stare. Number 15, some places do not allow you to take photos or videos in their store or of their stalls or restaurants. They're very stern on that. I'm not too sure why. Maybe it's a little shy or whatever it may be. And some stores too, they don't allow you to take any pictures at all. There was one time where I didn't even know that they didn't allow video or pictures, so then I was just taking a little bit of video and they said, no video. I'm like, oh, sorry, my bad. So I turned it off or I put it downwards so that they understood that I wasn't taking anymore. Be respectful of other people's rules. You're in someone else's country. Number 16. So if it's your first time to Japan, you'll probably be flying to one of 2 airports in Tokyo. If you're flying to Tokyo, there is Haneda and there is Narita Airport. My recommendation is to fly to Haneda because Haneda is typically way less foot traffic and it's not as large as Narita. Narita has been there, I think, for a bit longer, and so more people automatically will choose Narita because it's been there longer, more recommendation, more familiarity. Choose Haneda, way less people, you get through the lines a lot easier once you go through customs, lots of benefits, and it's a lot newer too. So that's why I personally, for my 2 times I've been over there, I chose Haneda. Number 17, a little bit back to public transportations. They don't run all day long. They'll come early. Maybe they'll start up at around 5, 6 a.m. and then they'll end around 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. So be mindful if you're trying to use the public transportation, but you're gonna be staying out late, whether it be at a izakaya, you're drinking sake, drinking beer, drinking asahi, whatever the case may be mindful that once you pass those times, you're not going to get a train ride back. You'll have to get a very expensive cab or Uber. I probably recommend somewhere local to your place. That way you can stay out late and then go back to your hotel or Airbnb if that's the case. You don't have to worry about transportation. Number 18. I don't know if this was specific to our experience, but in Japan, the fruits just didn't measure up to some of the other Southeast Asian countries that I've been to. I've been to Vietnam a few times because that's my homeland. And their fruits are amazing, cheap too. But in Japan, the cheaper fruits tend to be a little bit lesser in quality, whereas the more expensive fruits on another level. But fruits there in Japan are generally used for gifting. Based off of the cost to quality ratio, I wouldn't recommend fruits in Japan, from my experience of course, just aren't worth it. I could be totally wrong, find the wrong places. Number 19, Donquijote. Donquijote is probably the best general store that you can go to in Japan. You can get everything from food, clothes, snacks, gifts, necessities, whatever you're looking for. Me, for example, when I went to Japan, I forgot my belt, and so my pants were really loose. I went to Donquijote, got a belt, easy. And then my glasses, they actually broke. The screws came loose. I bought this small little Swiss tool set, and bam, they have a variety of things from luxury goods to tax-free shops. It's amazing there. It's a great experience to know all the goods that Japan sells in one store. It's your one-stop shop, essentially. And number 20, if you made this far, congratulations, because if you forgot everything I said about the rules in Japan, hey, that's okay, because guess what? There's something called the gaijin card, or the foreigner exemption card. So gaijin is, depending on how you say it, is kind of a derogatory term used for foreigners. Most Japanese, they actually don't have expectation of you knowing their rules. So then if you break one of their rules by mistake, it's okay. As long as it was by mistake or out of ignorance, it'll be okay. It's not the end of the world. You're not gonna get in trouble with the police. Overall, Japan is an amazing place to travel to. If you ever get the chance to visit a foreign country in Asia, I highly, highly recommend Japan. It's such a beautiful place with its culture, its people, its food. They're all amazing. And so if you enjoyed this video and you're actually looking to book a trip to Japan, check out my other videos. It has vlogs of all the places I've been to in Japan and itineraries, best places to go. So make sure to subscribe to keep up with all Japanese content that we're pushing out right now. Thanks for watching. Sayonara.